Right now, we're going to be talking about something that's been pretty sad in our area. Antonio Little passed away, and they found his body recently in the Rock River, and it's just been a sad time. But with us right now, we have Matt Parker, who was his basketball coach at South Beloit. And I know, Matt, this has been a tough time for you, but what a great kid Antonio was.
Yeah, Antonio he wasn't my best player that I ever coached, but he was my best student athlete, 4.0 student, took AP courses, a great leader in school, captain on the court, and really was the key reason why we had, that breakout year where we went 28-2 and won the first regional in 30-plus years due to his leadership. So, yeah, the last 5 weeks has been really tough, and to have the closure that we all didn't want to have, just makes it even tougher.
And you look at the young man, and I've done some homework on him. He was very loyal to the South Beloit program. I know there were some issues when you first got there; they weren't winning and things like that. And he probably had opportunities maybe to go to a Nick 10 school or something, but very loyal to the program, and that did a lot, didn't it, for you and for the other kids on the team?
Yeah, very loyal. I was fortunate enough to coach him at the JV level as well. And so I really had him for 4 years, and he was part of that transition going when I took the varsity position. And, yeah, he's very loyal. One of the things I was told when I took over the program is you have no talent coming up. And, we had a lot of talent. We just needed to develop that talent. He was certainly one of them, and I always appreciated not only his loyalty to the program, but also his parents and his family were at every game that they could get to unless they were working, not just mom and dad, but brothers and sisters. So, yeah, absolutely 100% Selbo.
And, when you talk about him, you talked about student athlete. He just wasn't a basketball player or an athlete. He also was an all-stater, basically, in the classroom as well.
Yeah, he was. There's a great article that the Beloit Daily News did at his senior year, where a photograph of him and Matt Peterson and Matt Ennis, who were all holding basketballs and also holding books, and they were all 4.0 students and all key contributors, starters on the team. So that we're always preaching about the student athlete and what colleges and universities look for when they're looking for athletes to come and give Division I, II, III scholarships. And he epitomizes what those colleges and universities are looking for, both on the court and in the classroom.
As a student, how did you like his approach? I mean, did it also help him on the basketball floor because he was a leader on both sides of the floor?
Yeah, I had him in AP Politics and Current Affairs, and it just so happened that year that he was in my course was the election when Barack Obama was elected president. And so it was just a great year, and he and 4 or 5 other African-American students in the class were very, very vocal through the whole political race, and just a pride that came out through the process. And then when he won the election, was just really neat to experience with him. And just like on the court, he was very vocal in class, in a respectful way towards his fellow students and teachers. But he would share his opinion and wasn't embarrassed or, he always had the confidence to do that. And that fed into the rest of the class and made it a really good class as far as discussion went.
When you think about Antonio, what do you think about on the basketball floor? What was one thing you remember about him? I know there's always times you have a special time with a young man or a player. Was there a time when you said, wow, that's a kid that can play?
Well, I think, the legacy he left was, the best team in, maybe South Beloit history, but certainly in the last 31 years before he played. But the thing I'll always remember, I just had this burned in my brain, and it happened 5 or 6 times, but the one occasion I remember specifically, we had lost a very close game to Dakota, and he didn't have a particularly good free throw shooting night.
Mm-hmm.
We went in the locker room, did our post game. As I was walking out with Coach Bang, Antonio was shooting free throws in the gym.
Wow.
So it's 9:45 at night, post game, still got his uniform on, and so, you know, we waited, and he probably shot for 45 minutes to an hour, placing the weight of that loss on him not shooting particularly well from the free throw line and putting the work in that night. Just really stuck with me and always has. One of the reasons why I knew he was always going to be very successful down here at NIU and also was doing great stuff in the community and at the Y. And so that's the memory that I think about a lot, and I've been thinking about a lot the last 5 weeks.
You know, you talked earlier before we came on the air that there's been a lot of heartbreak in South Beloit with some former students and things like that. What would you say to student athletes now as, you know, we go down the road? You know, he died way too young, and we don't know all the circumstances and what happened in that, but it just seems like there's a lot of pressure on young people today.
Yeah, we were fortunate enough to hang out with Antonio about 2.5 weeks before he disappeared. And we're planning a Sobo basketball reunion this summer at the end of July, and he was on the planning committee. And so, you know, we hung out that night and enjoyed his company. And I thought a lot about that night, and I wish I could say to him and any other kid that's been struggling and has gotten to that dark place of despair and just feeling like life is overwhelming for whatever reason, that you just want to grab them and look them in the eye and say, this is just a moment in time. There's tough times in life, and there's wonderful times in life, and that's the cycle of life. And this is just a little moment, and we're going to get through this, and I'm going to help you get through this, whether it's, you know, counseling or, you know, financial planning or whatever it is. But it's just a little fragment in time, and it's going to be okay. It's going to be tough for a little while, but it's going to be okay. And that's what I want to say to all my students and former players and really anybody in the community, that we're here to help. That's one of the beautiful things about being a coach and a teacher. And, you know, all it takes is a phone call or a request, and we'll be there.
Well, Matt, thanks so much for doing this today. I know it's been tough. You're busy. You're doing a lot of things going on, but I think that a lot of people are going to need thoughts and prayers. In the family, have you been in contact with them? Are they doing okay right now?
I have not since Antonio was found. I talked to Mom the week after he went missing, and saw a lot of my former players. We walked searching for him for a few days. Down by the river and over by Boylan High School, and so, you know, I haven't talked to the family. I do plan on reaching out to them in the next couple of days, and obviously we'll be there at the services to pay our respects and remember a great kid.
We've been talking with Matt Parker, the former coach at South Beloit, and Antonio Little was one of his players who was found just yesterday that he had drowned in the Rock River. And thanks, Matt, so much for taking time.
I appreciate you doing this, Dave. And again, it's in honor of a real special human being. So thank you.
That's Matt Parker. I'm Dave Schmidt for the StatelineSportsHub.com.